So when we talk about intervals in music, we're basically talking about the distance between two notes. So two notes that are super close together, we call that a second because you just go to the very next note, okay? A third would be this note going all the way to this note. We skipped over this note, so it's 1, 2, 3, and that's how we get a third. A fourth is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the distance from the first note to the fourth note is a fourth, and fifth and sixth and seventh, etc. And we keep going. You usually call it 8 an octave, but other than that, you can use the numbers. And I'll show you on the piano as well as on the musical staff. Okay, so let's get started.
Hi, I'm Mr. B. I'm here to teach you about music you see, so stick with me and be all that you can be, and join me on a journey through music theory.
Okay, hi again. I'm Mr. B. So we're talking about intervals today. And first I'm going to show you intervals on the musical staff, okay? So I've put in a note here in the staff. It's a G. And if you want to talk about the numbers of intervals, we'll start with a second, okay? Because a 1 would just be a unison, which would mean that two different people would be playing the same exact note. That would be a unison. But you usually can't play a unison on the same instrument in most cases. So the first one we can actually deal with is a second, okay? So when you have a second on the musical staff, notice how they're kind of slanted. That's because they're so close together that in music we just put them on the opposite side of the stem just so that you can see it more clearly, okay? But it doesn't change the way that you play it. So these notes are G and A. So in a G and an A are just a step away from each other. It's the very next note in the scale that you can use. So we call that a second, G to A. Okay, that's a second. Now if we wanted to change it into a third, let's see if I can do this. There. So now it's a third, and you'll notice it went back on the regular side of the stem because it has more room now, so they stack nicely now. So this is a third, okay, because you're technically going from G to A to B, and if you count all of those, 1, 2, 3, that's a third, but they're stacked because you play them at the same time. So 1 would be the G, 2 would be this A that's missing here, and 3 is the B. So that's a third because it's 3 away. G, A, B, third, okay? If we wanted to do a fourth, we could pull this one up to a C. Now a fourth, in this case, is G to C. G, A, B, C, fourth. That's how we get 4, okay? So you'll notice that a fourth is a line to a space, or if we started on a space, it would go to a line. The next one that we see is a fifth, okay? A fifth goes from G to D. G, A, B, C, and D. That's 5. So there's the distance between those two notes is 5. The next one would be a sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm doing two hands now. G, A, B, C, D, E. 6. Okay. A seventh would look like this. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And then when you get to 8, we call it an octave. Okay. We don't normally call it an eighth, we call it an octave. An octave means that you're playing the same letter higher or lower. So in this case, it's a G to a G. Now most music, the basic note of music is C, so I'm going to do this again in C's. Okay, so this is a second, C to D, a third, C to E, a fourth, C to F, a fifth, C to G, a sixth, C to A, a seventh, C to B, and then an octave, C to C. Now, you can go up more than that, okay? And the jazz musicians love to use intervals that are higher than an octave because they'll play things like a G minor 13 chord or a G augmented slash something 17th chord. Okay, whatever. Jazz musicians are very smart, and I have a hard time understanding all those numbers, but they do go past 8. So here's a ninth, a 10th, an 11th, a 12th, a 13th, a 14th, a 15th, a 16th, a 17th, an 18th, a 19th, all the way up, okay? Or you could go all the way down. All right, so that's how intervals work. The greater the distance between the two notes, the greater the number of the interval. So that's the basic way that intervals happen. I'm going to show you on the piano as well. Okay, so just to show you real quick about how intervals work on a piano. So if we start on a C and we want to play a second, this would be a second. 1, 2. If we wanted a third, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3. If we wanted a fourth, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we wanted a fifth, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we wanted a sixth, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we wanted a seventh, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the octave looks like this. And notice I'm playing the same note again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So that's how that's how intervals work on a piano. Welcome, and it's time to play Name That Interval. Okay, here's the contestant. You are the contestant. And let's name this interval. So we're starting on a C, and we're going to this note. What interval is it? If you said fifth, you're right, it's a fifth. Now let's go to our next interval. Please name this interval. If you said a third, you're correct, it is a third. Let's go to the next interval. Name this interval. If you said a seventh, you're correct. It is a seventh. C to B is a seventh. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's try this interval. Can you name this interval? If you said octave, you're correct. It's also, you could say eighth, and that would be good as well. Yes. Let's do another interval. What is this interval? If you said second, you're correct. It is a second. Let's do one more interval. Name that interval. If you said fourth, you're correct. Congratulations. You don't win a trip to Hawaii. Bye. I'm Mr. B. If you like what you see, please subscribe to me.